I've been with my fiancée Wendy, 24F, for about 18 months now. We met at my college friend Jake's birthday party, and I was immediately drawn to her vibrant personality and stunning looks. As someone who's always been a bit insecure about my appearance, I couldn't believe my luck when she agreed to go out with me. To give you some background, I've always struggled with self-esteem issues. Growing up, I was the chubby kid with braces and thick glasses. While I eventually grew out of that awkward phase, the insecurity never really left me. I threw myself into my studies and later my career, thinking that if I couldn't be the most attractive guy, I could at least be successful. By the time I met Wendy, I had a stable job as a software developer at a mid-sized tech company. I wasn't rolling in money, but I was comfortable and had been saving up for a down payment on a house. Wendy, on the other hand, was working as a bartender at a popular nightclub downtown. She'd moved to the city about a year before we met, chasing dreams of becoming a model or actress. Our first date was at a trendy sushi restaurant. Wendy ordered the most expensive items on the menu without even glancing at the prices. At the time, I thought she was just living in the moment, and I was happy to treat her. Looking back, I should have seen it as a red flag. Our relationship moved pretty fast. Within 3 months, Wendy had practically moved into my apartment. She explained that her roommate situation wasn't working out, and she was struggling to make rent on her bartending salary. Being the supportive boyfriend I thought I needed to be, I offered to let her stay with me until she got back on her feet. I remember the day she moved in. She showed up with 6 suitcases full of clothes and shoes. When I joked about where we'd put it all, she just laughed and said we'd make it work. That night, as we lay in bed, Wendy told me how lucky she felt to have met me. She said I was different from other guys she'd dated, kinder, more mature, more stable. I felt on top of the world. Fast forward to now, and Wendy still lives with me rent-free. I pay for everything, groceries, utilities, her car payments, and even her frequent shopping sprees. She quit her bartending job about 6 months ago to focus on her influencer career, but so far, it hasn't taken off as she hoped. I didn't mind supporting her at first because I genuinely believed in her dreams and wanted to see her succeed. Wendy's typical day involves waking up around noon, spending hours on her makeup and outfit, then going out to take pictures for Instagram. She often comes home late, saying she was networking with other influencers or attending events. I'd sometimes gently suggest she might want to look for a part-time job, but she'd always brush it off, saying her big break was just around the corner. Last week, I had planned a surprise weekend getaway for our anniversary. I'd been saving up for months, cutting back on my own expenses to afford a romantic trip to a beachside resort. I took Friday off work and was all set to surprise Wendy when she got back from her photo shoot, which usually means hanging out with her friends and taking pictures for Instagram. I was in the bedroom, packing our bags, when I heard the front door open and Wendy's voice, along with a few of her friends. I was about to go out and greet them when I overheard something that made my blood run cold. Wendy was laughing and saying, "I can't believe how easy it is to get Matt to buy me stuff. All I have to do is bat my eyelashes and pout a little, and he's running to the store with his credit card." One of her friends asked, "Aren't you worried he'll catch on?" Wendy's response felt like a knife to my heart. "Please, Matt's too insecure to ever leave me. He thinks he hit the jackpot with me. As long as I keep him happy in the bedroom, he'll keep funding my lifestyle. It's a win-win." I stood there, frozen, as they continued to laugh and joke about how Wendy had trained me to be her personal ATM. They even started placing bets on how expensive a gift she could get me to buy for their upcoming girls' trip. As I listened, memories started flooding back. The time Wendy convinced me to buy her a $500 handbag for her birthday, even though I'd already gotten her a nice necklace. The weekend trips I'd funded under the guise of her needing to network with other influencers. The countless times she'd come home with shopping bags full of designer clothes, always with a ready excuse about needing them for her brand. I couldn't bear to hear anymore. I quietly closed the bedroom door and sat on the bed, trying to process what I'd just heard. The woman I thought I was going to marry saw me as nothing more than a walking wallet. All those times I thought she was being affectionate or loving, she was just manipulating me for money. I canceled our weekend plans, telling Wendy I had to work on an urgent project. The look of disappointment on her face, which I once would have found endearing, now seemed calculated and fake. I've been avoiding her as much as possible since then, making excuses about being busy with work. She's noticed something's off, but I haven't confronted her yet. I'm torn between feeling angry, hurt, and embarrassed. Angry at Wendy for using me, hurt that our entire relationship seems to have been a lie, and embarrassed that I fell for it so completely. I keep replaying moments from our relationship in my head, wondering how I could have been so blind. There was the time Wendy lost her credit card right before we were supposed to go on a shopping trip for her new workout gear. Of course, I ended up paying for everything. Or the numerous times she'd conveniently forget her wallet when we went out to dinner with her friends, leaving me to foot the bill for the entire group. I don't know what to do now. Part of me wants to kick her out immediately, but another part is scared of being alone. What if she's right? What if no one else would want to be with me? But I also know I can't stay with someone who sees me as an ATM rather than a partner. I'm planning to confront her this weekend, but I'm nervous about how it will go. Will she deny everything? Try to manipulate me again? Or will she finally show her true colors? I've thought about recording the conversation, just in case things get ugly, but I'm not sure if that's legal or ethical. I've also been wondering how to handle the financial aspect of this. Most of the furniture in the apartment is mine, but I've bought Wendy a lot of expensive gifts over the past year and a half. Do I ask for those back? Do I just cut my losses and move on? The hardest part is facing the fact that I've been living a lie. I really thought Wendy and I had a future together. We'd talked about marriage, kids, buying a house. Now I realize those were probably just tactics to keep me on the hook. I feel like such a fool for not seeing this sooner. Were there signs I missed? Should I have been more suspicious when she quit her job without having another lined up? Was I so blinded by her beauty and the idea of having a gorgeous girlfriend that I willingly ignored the red flags? Any advice on how to approach this situation would be appreciated. I know I need to end this relationship, but I'm scared of what comes next. How do I rebuild my self-esteem after this? How do I trust someone again? Update 1. It's been a week since my last post, and a lot has happened. I want to thank everyone for their supportive comments and advice. It really helped me gather the courage to confront Wendy. Last Saturday, I finally sat Wendy down for a talk. I had spent the whole week rehearsing what I was going to say, trying to prepare for every possible reaction she might have. I chose a time when I knew we wouldn't be interrupted, early afternoon, after she'd usually woken up but before she would typically go out with her friends. I started by asking her about her plans for the future, both for her influencer career and our relationship. She gave me her usual spiel about how she's this close to landing a big sponsorship deal and how she sees us getting married within the year. As she talked, I found myself noticing things I'd overlooked before, the way her eyes darted around when she mentioned the sponsorship, the slightly rehearsed quality to her words about our future. Then, I dropped the bomb. I told her I overheard her conversation with her friends last week. The look on her face was a mix of shock, anger, and, surprisingly, fear. She tried to backpedal, claiming it was just girl talk and that she didn't mean any of it. But I wasn't having it. I laid out everything, how I'd been supporting her for over a year, paying for all her expenses, and even funding her failed attempts at becoming an influencer. I told her how hurt and betrayed I felt hearing her laugh about manipulating me. As I spoke, I could see the wheels turning in her head, probably trying to figure out how to spin this in her favor. Wendy's reaction was not what I expected. Instead of apologizing or trying to make amends, she got defensive. She started listing all the things she'd sacrificed for our relationship, like giving up her bartending job, which I later found out she was fired from for showing up late too many times, and how she could have been with hotter guys but chose to be with me. That last comment really stung, but it also made me realize how right everyone in the comments had been. Wendy had been using my insecurities to control me all along. In that moment, something in me snapped. I told her she had 48 hours to pack her things and leave my apartment. Wendy's demeanor changed instantly. She started crying and begging, saying she loved me and that she'd get a job right away. When that didn't work, she threatened to tell all our friends that I'd been abusive, which is absolutely not true. I stayed calm and told her if she didn't leave peacefully, I'd have no choice but to involve the police. The next 2 days were tense. Wendy alternated between trying to seduce me, guilt-trip me, and threaten me. She brought up every insecurity I'd ever shared with her, trying to make me doubt myself. At one point, she even tried to convince me that I had misheard her conversation with her friends, that they were actually talking about some TV show character. But I stood my ground. On Sunday night, Wendy's tactics changed. She started packing her things, but she was taking an excruciatingly long time, stopping every few minutes to reminisce about some memory or another. I realized she was trying to draw out the process, probably hoping I'd change my mind if she stayed long enough. I ended up taking Monday off work to ensure Wendy actually left. It was painful watching her pack up her life from our shared space. Despite everything, there was a part of me that wanted to tell her to stay, that we could work things out. But then I'd remember her laughing with her friends about manipulating me, and my resolve would harden again. On Monday evening, she finally left with all her belongings. The last thing she said to me was, "You'll regret this, Matt. You'll never find anyone better than me." Even in that final moment, she couldn't help but take a jab at my self-esteem. I thought I'd feel relieved once she was gone, but honestly, I just feel empty. The apartment seems so quiet now. I keep expecting to hear her voice or see her lounging on the couch. But then I remember how she really saw me, and I know I made the right decision. I've blocked Wendy on all social media and my phone. I'm dreading having to explain the situation to our mutual friends, but I know it's necessary. I'm worried about what Wendy might tell them, given her threat to accuse me of abuse. I've decided to be proactive and reach out to a few close friends to explain my side of the story. For now, I'm focusing on myself. I've started going to the gym again, something I'd let slide while I was with Wendy. She always said she preferred me with a bit of a dad bod, and now I wonder if that was just another way to keep me insecure and dependent on her. I've also reached out to some old friends I'd lost touch with while I was with Wendy. It's been nice reconnecting with them, though I feel guilty for neglecting these friendships for so long. One of my college buddies, Alex, invited me to join his weekly basketball game. I used to love playing but stopped because Wendy said it took up too much of my time. I'm looking forward to getting back into it. Financially, I'm still reeling a bit from the impact of supporting Wendy for so long. I've had to dip into my savings more than I'd like, and that house down payment I was saving for seems further away than ever. But I'm determined to get back on track. I've started tracking my expenses rigorously and have set up a new budget for myself. It's going to be a long road to rebuilding my self-esteem, but I'm committed to it. I never want to be in a situation like this again. I'm considering seeing a therapist to work through some of these issues, but I haven't made an appointment yet. Part of me is scared of what I might uncover if I start digging into why I let myself be treated this way for so long. Thank you all for helping me see the truth and find the strength to stand up for myself. I know I have a long way to go, but for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm on the right path. Update 2. It's been about a month since Wendy moved out, and I wanted to give you all an update on how things have been going. First off, I want to thank everyone again for their support and advice. It's been a challenging month, but I'm starting to feel like myself again. The first week after Wendy left was tough. I felt lonely and kept second-guessing my decision. The apartment felt too big and too quiet. I found myself reaching for my phone to text her countless times, only to remember why she wasn't there anymore. But every time I started to miss her, I reminded myself of what she'd said about me and how she'd been using me all along. I've been keeping busy with work and my renewed social life. The weekly basketball games with Alex have become a highlight. It's not just about the exercise, it's the camaraderie, the friendly trash talk, the post-game beers. It reminds me of who I was before Wendy, and I like that version of myself. About 2 weeks ago, I ran into one of Wendy's friends, Melissa, at the grocery store. I was prepared for it to be awkward, but to my surprise, Melissa actually apologized to me. She told me she'd always felt uncomfortable with how Wendy treated me but never knew how to bring it up. She also revealed some things about Wendy that I hadn't known. Apparently, Wendy had a history of latching onto guys with good jobs and manipulating them into supporting her. I was just the latest in a long line of men she'd used. Melissa also confirmed that Wendy had indeed been fired from her bartending job for repeatedly showing up late and hungover. Hearing all this was like a final puzzle piece clicking into place. It hurt to realize just how thoroughly I'd been deceived, but it also helped me let go of any lingering doubts about ending the relationship. I thanked Melissa for her honesty and left feeling a strange mix of sadness and relief. On the positive side, I've been making progress in other areas of my life. I've been going to the gym regularly and have already noticed some improvements in my physique and energy levels. I've started meal prepping on Sundays, which has helped me eat healthier and save money on takeout. I've also been rediscovering old hobbies. I used to love photography before I met Wendy, but I'd let it fall by the wayside. Last weekend, I dug out my old camera and spent a day at the local botanical gardens, just taking pictures of flowers and trees. It felt good to create something just for the joy of it, not for likes or follows. Last weekend, I went out with a group of friends for the first time since the breakup. We went to a new brewery that had opened up downtown. It felt good to laugh and enjoy myself without worrying about Wendy's demands or mood swings. One of my friends even suggested setting me up with her coworker, but I told her I'm not ready to date yet. I want to focus on myself for a while and make sure I'm in a better headspace before I consider getting into another relationship. Financially, I'm doing much better now that I'm not supporting 2 people on my salary. I've started putting money aside for a vacation I've always wanted to take but could never afford while I was with Wendy. I'm thinking about a solo trip to Japan next spring. The idea of traveling alone is a bit daunting, but also exciting. There have been some awkward moments with mutual friends who don't know the full story. A few have asked why Wendy and I broke up, and I've been honest but brief in my explanations. Most have been understanding, though a couple of Wendy's closer friends have been cold towards me. I try not to let it bother me, they don't know the whole story, and I don't owe them an explanation. I did end up seeing a therapist, Dr. Jansen, and it's been helpful. We've had 3 sessions so far, and while it's early days, I feel like I'm starting to understand some of the patterns that led me to this situation. Dr. Jansen has been helping me work through my insecurities and set healthier boundaries for future relationships. Overall, I'm feeling more positive about the future. It's not always easy, and there are still moments when I feel down or lonely. But I know I made the right decision, and I'm committed to becoming a stronger, more confident version of myself. Update 3. Hey everyone, it's been about 3 months since my last update, and I wanted to share some recent developments. Life has been pretty good lately. I've settled into a new routine, and I'm feeling more like myself than I have in a long time. The gym has become a regular part of my schedule, and I've even started taking a cooking class on weekends. It's nice to have hobbies and interests that are just for me. Work has been going well too. Without the constant stress of Wendy's demands, I've been able to focus more on my career. I recently got assigned to lead a big project, which is both exciting and challenging. My boss mentioned that if this project goes well, I might be in line for a promotion next year. I've been making progress in therapy too. Dr. Jansen and I have been working on building my self-esteem and recognizing my own worth. It's a slow process, but I'm starting to see improvements. I catch myself standing a little taller, speaking up more in meetings, and generally feeling more confident in my own skin. Now, For the big news, Wendy tried to contact me last week. She called from an unknown number, and I almost didn't answer. When I heard her voice, I felt a mix of emotions, anger, sadness, and surprisingly, pity. Wendy started off by saying she missed me and had made a huge mistake. She claimed she'd done a lot of soul searching and realized how badly she'd treated me. She even said she'd gotten a job as a receptionist and was learning to support herself. For a moment, I felt a twinge of the old feelings I had for her. But then I remembered all the lies and manipulation, and I knew I couldn't go back to that. I told Wendy I was glad she was doing better, but that we had no future together. I wished her well and ended the call. After hanging up, I felt relieved. I realized I no longer had any desire to be with Wendy. The hold she once had over me was gone. It was a liberating feeling. In other news, I did end up going on that vacation I mentioned in my last update. I took a solo trip to Costa Rica, something I'd always wanted to do but never had the courage, or funds, for while I was with Wendy. It was an amazing experience. I went hiking in the rainforest, learned to surf, and met some great people at the hostel where I stayed. One night, sitting on the beach watching the sunset, I had a moment of clarity. I realized that while the experience with Wendy was painful, it taught me a lot about myself and what I want in a relationship. I'm more aware of red flags now, and I've learned to value myself more. Since I've been back, I've been trying to maintain that vacation mindset of adventure and self-discovery. I've started exploring my city more, trying new restaurants and attending local events. Last weekend, I went to a photography exhibition that really inspired me to pick up my camera more often. I'm still not actively looking to date, but I'm open to the possibility if the right person comes along. For now, I'm enjoying my independence and focusing on personal growth. I've even started volunteering at a local animal shelter on Saturday mornings. It's been incredibly rewarding, and it's nice to feel like I'm making a positive difference. Financially, things are looking up too. Without Wendy's expenses, I've been able to put a significant amount into savings each month. That house down payment doesn't seem so far out of reach anymore. I've also started investing a small amount in the stock market, something I've always been interested in but never felt confident enough to try before. My relationships with friends and family have improved too. I've been making an effort to stay in touch more regularly and be more present when we're together. My sister commented the other day that I seem happier and more relaxed than she's seen me in years. Thank you all again for your support throughout this journey. Your advice and encouragement have been invaluable. I'm in a much better place now, both mentally and emotionally, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. While I wouldn't wish my experience with Wendy on anyone, I'm grateful for the lessons it taught me and the growth it's led to. Here's to continuing to move forward and build a life I'm truly happy with.